Okay, so let's get started by creating a new folder within your projects. I'm going to call this 06 temperature controller. Okay, let's close this up. Let's create here a file. Again, we're going to call it the same way as we called the folder. This will be temperature, but now with capital T. Temperature and controller dot, and also app and dot JSX. Okay, RFC. I'm going to leave the div. I seem to be missing here an L and here an L, and also let's change all of them. So they should have an L and you should have an extra L. Okay, within our div, we're going to create a class name. I'm going to assign this to container, and also let's add a bit of margin here and there. So let me go into our file. It's going to have a margin to the top of 2, 3. Let's add a 3, and let's text center. Now, if you wish, you can add the title. I'm not going to do this right now. I'm going to leave it open, and I'm going to start off by creating a card within here. So card.bglight, bg-light, going to have a light background, a bluish light background, and then a margin auto. Now within here, let's add an H1. Is going to hold the temperature. Okay, let's hit save. And I forgot to include it within our app. So temperature controller, and close it up, and it should automatically import. If it doesn't do this for you, then you need to import it. Okay, let's go back to our temperature. Let's also close this up. We don't need it. So here's the temperature. Here's our H1. And going back to the card, I still want to add something. I want to limit this. This is style. I'm going to limit this to a width of just 200. Now going back to our H1, I'm going to add to this a class name. I'm just going to add here a text of light. You know what? I'm also going to place this in a card. I know it sounds dumb. It's a card within a card, but just bear with me. You're going to see why I'm doing this just in a couple of seconds. Now I'm going to also add a bit of styling because I don't want the general style of the card to take place. I want to change it, and let's set a height of 150, a width of 150 is basically it's going to be square, and a border radius. Oh, you know what? I'm going to add the border radius here. So border -50, and just going to add here a border of 2 pixels. So this should be then in quotations 2 pixels, solid, and #666. Okay, there we go. Now our text is white, but we're going to change this just in a couple of seconds. Now underneath our H1, we're going to need 2 buttons, but I want to display them as left and right from one another because buttons are block elements. So we're going to use a class of display flex, and we're going to add a margin on the y-axis of 2. Within here, we're going to create our 2 buttons, and I'm also going to import the button component now. So button, and still not importing. This is so strange sometimes. Okay, there should be a component, and I'm going to import up here, import button from -- components and / button. Okay, so we got our button component. Now we can pass in here our button text. Or just text, was it just text? Yep, it was text. We're going to pass in here minus, going to be the left one. Then for the button class, we're going to pass in a btn, and I'm going to pass in a large button. So btn -large -lg. And by the way, these classes are from my advanced CSS and SAS course. So if you want to check that one out, I created a complete CSS framework within there. So you're creating your own components and so forth and so on. So please check that out if you wish so. Now on click, we're going to assign this to a function. Let's just console log here minus. Okay. I'm going to copy this button. I'm going to add to this a plus and to this a plus, and that's basically it. Okay, so let's check this out. Inspect, and we should see in our console because I'm automatically executing this. This shouldn't happen, and this should be actually in a callback function. So arrow function, and also here an arrow function, and now we should be able to console a plus and minus. Okay, now that's basically it for this part. Next, we need to somehow increase and decrease a number here, and I'm going to take care of this using useState. So let's do that.